All right, good evening, everybody. It is 8:30. We're going to get started here. Welcome to the Conscious Contact Speaker Group. My name is Brian, and I am an alcoholic. A couple of quick announcements here, and we'll get things started. This group does have a Facebook page and a website. Facebook page is the Conscious Contact Speaker Group of Doylestown. Website, you just Google AA meetings Saturday night Doylestown to find it. Both of them have information on the happenings with this group and really happenings throughout the area, all up and down the East Coast with AA. Reminder that there is no smoking on the church property. That's the church's policy. It's really all they ask from us is that we keep the property clean and looking nice as we find it, so if you could please help that out as you're coming and going, please take it across the street. With that, I think Maggie's going to come up here and she's going to chair the meeting.
Welcome to the Conscious Contact Speaker Group of Alcoholics Anonymous. My name is Maggie and I'm an alcoholic. This is a 1-hour speaker meeting that meets every Saturday evening at St. Paul's Lutheran Church, 301 North Main Street at 8:30 p.m. in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Food is at 8 p.m. The business meeting for this group meets every Saturday at 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. right here. The purpose of the group is to provide a consistent message of hope and recovery through God reliance and service to others through the practice and teaching of the 12 steps. We record all speakers so that others may benefit from their message of recovery. If you wish not to be recorded, simply ask. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. The group would like to welcome everyone, especially newcomers. Is there anyone new or from out of town that would like to introduce themselves with their first name? Well, welcome everyone anyway. Oh, yes, hi.
Hi, I'm Dan, I'm an alcoholic.
Hi Dan, welcome.
Hi, Christina.
Hi Christina, welcome. Oh, oops, hi. Everyone, be welcome. Hi Dan, welcome. The Conscious Contact Speaker Group encourages sponsorship. Would anyone with working knowledge of the 12 steps and is willing to sponsor, please raise your hands. Are there any announcements for the good of AA? Oh, yes, hi.
Sam, I'm an alcoholic.
Hi Sam.
District 23 is having their 20th anniversary Alzheimer's brunch, October 19th. Tickets are $15. I have tickets if you're interested. Big brunch buffet, it's a good time. Let me know.
Thank you. Anyone else? We have meeting lists and big books on easy terms. Please see me or any home group member after the meeting. If you cannot afford a big book, the Conscious Contact Speaker Group will give you one at no charge. Anyone willing to make donations for the purchase of big books and CDs to help those who can't afford them can put donations in the jar on the table marked Big Book and CD Donations. If you would like a CD of any speaker, past or present, see me or Ron before or after the meeting. They are available free of charge. And now I'm going to introduce Mike to read the preamble.
Hi, my name is Mike, I'm an alcoholic. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety. And I've asked Teresa to come up and read the 12 steps.
Hi, I'm Teresa. I'm an alcoholic. The AA 12 Steps of Recovery. 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Maggie's
The Son's tradition, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. At this time, I would like to pass the basket. We have no dues or fees, but we have expenses. This group provides many services. Your donations cover rent, big books, CDs, events, and workshops, etc. There is absolutely no smoking on church property. Please take a moment to silence all cell phones and limit movement during the meeting to avoid distractions. Now I'm going to introduce Judith, a good friend of the Conscious Contact Speaker Group from Toms River, New Jersey.
Hi everybody, my name's Judy, I'm an alcoholic. And my home group is Monday night, Main Street in Toms River. I forgot, 8 p.m. So if you're ever really far, far, far away, down by us, come and check us out. I didn't realize how far this was until we actually ventured. I'm really glad I'm here. I did say that I would go to any length, but we were behind a tractor for like 10 miles. And I was just like, is this a test? Like, is the Conscious Contact Group like watching me? Are they somewhere? They're gonna be like, watch this chick flip out, which I did actually, but I'm gonna keep coming. My sobriety date is February 5th, 2006, and by the grace of God and through the fellowship and the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, I have not found it necessary to pick up a drink. Not only have I not found it necessary to pick up a drink, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't do anymore that I used to do when I was drinking and drugging, and I owe that to Alcoholics Anonymous too. I'm not a liar anymore. I'm aware of a lot of the things that I do because I have a God consciousness. I have a relationship with my higher power that I choose to call God, that sustains me and helps me grow and loves me unconditionally. And so my story is not one of drinking at 13 and falling in love with alcohol. I'm more the kind of drinker, like I went through all the stages in the big book. Like I started out like a moderate drinker because I was a kid. I don't know anybody who's a daily drinker. Well, that's not true. I wasn't a daily drinker at 13. I know people who were, actually. So my story is one of progression. I don't remember, falling in love with alcohol or actually using it to get out of myself like I did when I was older. So my story is that in 1997, I'd been in a relationship with a guy that I was very much in love with, and I really thought we were gonna get married, and we broke up. And actually the reason why we broke up is because we went out one night and I got drunk, and I was embarrassing and a disaster, and it wasn't the first time. And we went back to his place on this Saturday night, and I asked for my keys, and I would usually ask for my keys, and he would always say, "I'm not giving you your keys, go pass out somewhere." But this night he gave me my keys, And when I tell you I was drunk, I mean, I was closed one eye, driving home drunk, and I drove home, and I don't remember much. But the reason why I say that is because I was out with 5 other women that night, and we all got wrecked. None of them are alcoholics. You know, the whoopee party, the going out at 25, 26 and getting drunk with your girlfriends doesn't make you an alcoholic. And we don't like to call anybody an alcoholic. As a member of AA, I don't do that. But they all went on to live normal lives. They got married, they went to college, they got jobs, so I didn't. So that's the distinction that I want to make, because it was right after that I began to drink alcoholically. And I started, you know, I'm single now, so I got my first, I was actually working at a gym in Long Branch, and I got a part-time job tending bar at this really cool nightclub in Sayreville, and it was like the spot. And they offered me a job as bartender, and I took it, and then one thing led to another. So that's really where it happened. So I don't remember before that becoming emotionally, spiritually, and mentally dependent on alcohol to the extent where I had a spiritual experience with it, where it became my higher power when I started going to it because of my problems and my troubles. And, you know, so it was then that I got sober in 2006, and I started drinking alcoholically. And I only know this from you know, having a sponsor and a network and talking openly and freely about my story and having them bring things to my recollection and bring things to my mind that maybe I didn't realize. And so I drank alcoholically and drugged alcoholically and addictly from 1997 until 2006 when I came in to get sober. So before that, every time I put alcohol in my body, I got drunk, but I was able to just, you know, say I'm not going to do that anymore. Like I gotta, you know, so I would put together periods of time where I wouldn't say I was sober, but I put together periods of time where I wasn't drinking. I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way. So, because to me it's important, because having not drank that way and sitting in speaker meetings, when I hear people talk, when I was hearing people talk about how they had their first drink at 13 and they fell in love with it and it was great, I was tempted to just kind of identify myself out of the room, like, well, you know what, maybe, I mean, I controlled it and it wasn't really an issue for me until the last 10 years, so maybe I'm not an alcoholic. I don't think like that today, but I thought like that in the beginning. And so if you're new and you're struggling and you're wondering if you should be here, nobody comes here on a Saturday night by accident. So, you know, you might have a problem. And if you don't have a problem with alcohol, you got a problem for being here without a problem with alcohol. You know what I mean? Because there's other things to do on a Saturday. Although not for me and not today. Today, there's no place else in the world that I would rather be than up here in front of this mic talking to you about the spiritual solution to alcoholism. The spiritual, amazing, magical, miraculous solution to alcoholism that is Alcoholics Anonymous. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I love everything about it. So, you know, 1997, and I'll get back to how much I love AA, because that's all I ever really talk about anyway. So, you know, I'm going out to New York City and I'm staying out for like 16 hours. I don't know if you, after hours spots, and at this, I'm also a musician, so I'm making dance music, house music, and I'm like putting records out, and my ego's huge, and I have 0 consequences, and I'm drunk and high for days on end, and nobody cares because we're all doing the same thing. But I vaguely have a sense in my spirit that something's not quite right. I'm getting a little scared now. It's like 1999, and when no one else is around, and I go home in the morning, and everybody's going back to their life, and I still don't want the night to end, and I'm afraid to be in my own skin, and I'm shaking and itching for no reason, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I can't, and the music is still ringing in my ears, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have to be normal now, whatever that is, and, you know, get some sleep, and then wake up, and then go out into the world like a normal human being. I'm struggling. I don't want to do it. I'm afraid to do it. And so that's where the problem started for me. I didn't know that I had a problem with alcohol until I tried to stop drinking alcohol. And that's when I realized for sure. So now I'm starting to get a little afraid. I'm waking up in places that I don't really know how I got there. And I'm traveling. So, I have an independent record label out of New York City, and they're sending me to different places, and I'm, going there and singing for 8 minutes and getting paid a retarded amount of money, $1,500 for 8 minutes, right? I'm doing a PA. And then my job is done, and they hand me the cash, and, well, I don't need to tell you, or do I? I would come home maybe after the weekend or after a few days with like $75 in my pocket. So this is how my life is going. And I just always remember, and I use this analogy, I remember going to the 8th grade dance, and this is how I felt most of my life. I went to the 8th grade dance, my mother dropped me off. I remember what I wore. And I remember going there, and the lights were dark, and it was like a gym, obviously. And I just stood, I stood at the doorway, and I shared this at another time, and I'm looking for someone I know. Like a friendly face, like I want to make it from here to them. Like as if it's like, I just want to make a beeline to the person to be safe. Like and I'm looking around and I can't find anyone I know, and everyone in there is laughing and dancing, and I'm feeling like they've known each other. My brain, the liar, tells me that they've known each other for years and they're all having a good time, and they're supposed to be here, but you're not supposed to be here, and you're by yourself, and they're all with each other. And so that's a metaphor for my entire life. For every job I started, for every endeavor I tried to undertake, from everything that I was going to try and do that might have been a little bit challenging or a little bit hard, that's the resistance that I felt. And so I was always afraid. I just always felt not right. And I grew up with a God. I grew up with Roman Catholic, so I grew up, going to church, and my mother was really religious, and she made sure that we had some sort of, foundation in God. But, for me, I got to a point in my life where I valued getting rid of that awkwardness and that pain and the fear a lot more than I valued God. And that's when the spiritual thing changed. That's when my alcoholism, or the lower power, became the ruler of my life. And it talks about that in the big book too. He didn't know if there was a devil, but if there was, he certainly had me. And so I feel the same way. That's when I kind of turned it over. Like, you might be right about everything you say about God, loving and powerful and all that other stuff, but that's not helping me now. And I have a choice now. And now I could obey God and be by myself, or I could go down this rabbit hole. And so it was a lot of making those decisions, And I learned through getting sober and reading the book and being around people and learning how to live, that anything I value more than my higher power, anything I put before my higher power, if I start caring about what you think about me more than I care about what my higher power thinks about me, for this alcoholic, I'm in trouble. And I'm in trouble because no human power can relieve my alcoholism. And if I'm depending on you for anything that I truly need, not only am I going to be disappointed, but I'm going to be empty, and it's not going to work. So I began doing that in my life. Your opinion, the opinions of others became more important to me, and it's always risk versus reward for me. I'm always like calibrating as an active alcoholic, like this could kill me or I could have the best time. You know what I mean? And it wasn't really about having the best time. I'll rephrase that. This could kill me, or I could have peace and not feel awkward anymore. And easier, softer way every time. I would say, well, I don't want to feel awkward. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I don't like this feeling, and so I'll do this instead. And so consecutive, my alcoholism is a story of chronic decision making in favor of not living, not feeling, not risking, not doing, not going, not trying, because anytime I begin to feel uncomfortable, the less uncomfortable I feel, right, the less tolerance I have for feeling uncomfortable. So the more I'm protecting myself from any kind of discomfort or pain, the less tolerance I have for any discomfort or pain. So now I'm basically retreating into my own little alcoholic isolated prison where I don't have to do nothing, talk to nobody, and say anything, be anything, because everything scares the hell out of me. And here's what I learned today. I require unconditional love in order to be okay. I need to know that I am loved and valued. I need to know that every day, in every way. Because when I step out into a situation and I don't feel that, or that's not the truth, I become fearful. And when I become afraid that I'm not loved, I start taking things for fear that I'm not going to get them, or grasping tighter to things for fear you're going to take them, because now I'm in survival mode and I'm not loved, so all bets are off. I'm sorry if I hurt you. I'm sorry if I didn't pay you back, but you know what? I can't worry about me and you at the same time. What Alcoholics Anonymous taught me, was when my God introduced himself to me in that third step, when he showed up, right? He actually showed up in my first step, but when he really made manifest and removed the obsession to drink, when he showed up in my life, he said, but only I can love you unconditionally. But only I can, anywhere you go, no matter where you go, only I can give you the things you want and see to it that they stay where they're supposed to stay, and that no one's going to take from you, or I'm your protector, I'm the foundation of your entire life. There is one that has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. So either I say this and listen to it every day at every AA meeting where they read, rarely have you seen a person fail, how it works. Either I listen to them say, there is one with all power, that one is God, may you find him now. Either I believe that or I don't. And there's no way that I can believe that God has all the power and still be afraid that I'm not going to get what I need. And in Alcoholics Anonymous, I learned to differentiate between my wants, which are never satisfied. In terms of my wants, I'm a black hole. There's not enough donuts, there's not enough sex, there's not enough money, there's not enough alcohol, there's not enough blow for me. I didn't know that up until coming here and learning about alcoholism. So my wants, which are never satisfied, and my needs, which are always met. Always met. I'm 50 years old, and I gotta tell you, I'm sober 13 years, and I'm in the terrible teens right now. AA calls the teens the terrible teens, and I'm gonna tell you why I believe that that's true. Because, the first few years of attaining, and my first job sober, my first car sober, my first apartment sober, my first relationship sober, that stuff is kind of, it's a new and miraculous world it was for me for the first 4 or 5 years of my sobriety. I'm still learning and climbing, and I belong to a group that used to say, we're putting together a life. We're putting together a life in AA. We're putting it together. And so I was still putting it together. And my relationships with my family, I was just so grateful that they were still talking to me, and I could be present as a sister. And, you know, I'm 4 years sober. My mother has metastatic bone cancer, right? And we decide, my sisters and I, we are going to take care of her at home, and we put her on hospice, and I'm 4 years sober, and I'm, you know, quoting the big book, I'm quoting the other big book. God is living inside me. The grace of God is protecting me and carrying me through this. AA women are carrying me through it. I'm making meetings every day. I'm talking about what's going on. It's a beautiful thing. But see, now, my mom's been dead 10 years, and my family's used to having me around. So now I'm expected to show up when it's time to show up. And nobody's having really a parade for me anymore, 13 years sober. Now I kind of blend in. I pass for normal, which is what I always wanted, you know? And now, in this space at 13 years sober, I can realize that I've been coasting for a while. You know, if pain is the touchstone of all spiritual growth, and I'm very comfortable in the job, you know, with the friends and family, in the relationship, then I can forget to practice these principles in all my affairs. My experience for me is that, you know, these little things start coming back very subtly and very quietly, you know, coming, little corners I can cut. You know, I don't really need to make 5 meetings a week anymore. I mean, I don't have to answer the phone every time she calls, and, you know, I gotta have a life too. We get sober to have a life, you know. These are the things that are being said in my mind, and I'm grateful that there are solution people in my life today. Because as much as I hate confrontation, I feel the pain of doing the wrong thing today. I have a conscious contact with God today. And I practice in my 11th step, two-way prayer, so I'll write, I'll speak to God, and then I'll listen, and I'll write, you know, the ideas and the inspirations that come into my mind. This is not a game, like, this is real stuff. My story is that everything they say in the big book actually happens. What used to be an occasional hunch or inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind. That is absolutely true for me. And I have a choice every day. I can listen to the intuition, or I cannot. And if I choose to not do that, I choose the consequences as well. So I'm responsible for my own life today. That's what Alcoholics Anonymous has given me. So I need that unconditional love. I can't get it anywhere else but from my higher power. And I get it in here because of the second tradition. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscience. When we get together, we all believe in different gods, and no two gods are the same, but the spirit of the God is here to keep you from telling me to get out, or to shut up, or disrespecting me, or not picking me up when I need a ride. That's the God in that second tradition, that no matter how many different gods we believe in this room, there is one ultimate authority, and if we want to stay happily and usefully whole, we obey. And I know we hate that word, but I don't hate it anymore. Because I know what disobedience looks like. I was homeless when I got here. I had drank and smoked and snorted every penny. I had lost myself, I don't know, my 60th job. I've had about 60-something jobs in my life. I always just bounce and move and bounce and move. I had no respect and no value for jobs at all, because I guess I never really had a career. So everything was just a job. I've had 3 cars repossessed in my life because, I don't know, I took the loan, but I never gave any money back. So that was a problem for the bank, and then they came and took the car. So my very first car, I was 19 years old, and I'm not drinking alcoholically yet. I have a job at the First National Bank of Toms River, and I'm at the job 3 days, and I go and buy a new car. much to my parents' chagrin, who said, "You've barely worked a month in your life and you're 19. You've had this job for 3 days," and because one of the car dealers was a good customer of the bank, and he said that he could get me a deal, and one thing led to another, and I come pulling up in the driveway, mac, mac, with a brand new Chevy Spectrum, hatchback, 1988. We used to call it the Funky Fresh Spectrum. And I pull up in my driveway, my payments are $203 a month, and my parents think I'm insane because they know what type of person I am. My mother's like, "You lost your purse 3 times last week. The neighbor had to hand it over the fence. But okay, you're gonna drive a car." Like, this was my MO. This is who I was as a person. I didn't know that this was alcoholism. But this is alcoholism. Irresponsibility, borrowing money without caring whether or not you're gonna pay it back. Being emotionally dependent on parents and people to supply for you and try to get by on, well, that's just, I'm just silly, Judy, you know. It's not cute after a while, you know what I mean? It's not cute when you're 36 and homeless. You know, it might have worked a little bit at 19. So that's who I was. So I got the Chevy Spectrum, and I, more bad choices, choosing wrong relationships. And I know everybody in this room can identify with that. You know what I mean? Hi, I'm sicko. Sign me up. You know? Okay, I hit women. I'm down. So, my first real relationship, I was 19 years old, and horribly abusive. No drugs and alcohol. But this is where I learned that I needed that unconditional love, and I want, wherever I can get it. And I don't know when I made this deal with the devil, but I did at some point. I was a good kid, and I grew up a good kid from a good family. We had our dysfunction, and it was volatile in my house. But in light of what happened to me, there were women I know that were in much more volatile situations than me, worse home lives than me, and they're not alcoholic at all. So I'm not even going to blame that, but I will blame my disposition on just never feeling safe. Just never feeling safe. I'm a needy, you know what? I'm a needy, emotionally needy individual. Now that's a bad thing if I don't have a higher power. If I don't have a higher power, it's a bad thing, because I believe that God created me to be dependent upon Him. And everything I read in the AA literature tells me that the more dependent I am upon God, right, the more independent I become. And if that is true, then this is the only place in the world where I can be as needy as I please and have it be all right. Only if I'm practicing these principles and working the steps. Because when I step out of that, I'm looking to someone or something else to satisfy a need, a desire, or that black hole want that will just never be satisfied. And when I get wrapped in that is active alcoholism. That is the bedevilments from page 52 to me. That is restless, irritable, and discontent. The minute I take my focus from my life, my dependence for my life on anything other than my higher power, and the only way I find them is in this work and by helping another alcoholic. I find out in the first step, I am screwed. I'm screwed. I'm powerless over alcohol. My life is unmanageable, and I cannot not drink. It's really the dead end for me without that second step. Thank God for that second step, And I'm still coming to believe, because there's more power. More will be revealed. That's what it tells me. So I'm in the terrible teens because more will be revealed. And God is constantly revealing more to me and to everyone else, provided that I stay plugged in. And what I'm learning today is that, more dependence upon God. So more. And this is the only, and this spiritual practice is the only place, again, where my disease for more actually comes in handy. Because if I want more grace, the answer is yes. If I want to work with more alcoholics, the answer is yes. If I want to do more service, the answer is yes. I can do as much of the good stuff as I want and never get enough. No side effects, no hangovers, no vomiting. I choose that. And when I'm plugged into that, I come alive. And that's how I know I'm doing the right thing. I come alive when I'm doing this. I become afraid when I'm doing anything other than this. I become afraid that I'm going to lose something I have or not get something I want. And the truth is, I'll never get everything I want. I cannot stay right-sized. I cannot live in reality without a higher power. My higher power is the truth. And I have a system, a brain that is forever lying to me, telling me I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, and I'm ill-prepared for life. And the truth is that God made me with absolutely everything I need for this life and to fulfill His mission. I lack nothing. And that's what I learned through the 12 steps. Am I faulty? Am I human? Do I make mistakes? Yeah, but I lack nothing. I can go to my higher power with my defects of character and say, I'm still manipulating people and it's causing me pain. Remove this root and branch. Won't He do it? How free do I want to be? That's the question that I have to ask myself every day. So it's, 2005, and my roommate's like, I don't want to live with you anymore because some days I come home and, you're fine, which you're kind of fine, and then some days I come home and you're hanging out the window. I lived in Jersey City. Sometimes I come home, you're hanging out the window with a bottle of Bacardi, smoking cigarettes, yelling at the alley cats. I don't want to do this anymore, And so I go down the shore, the Tom's River, and I show up at my mom's house at 36 years old. I got fired from my job. I was working in New York City. I was an administrator for a dental office, which is what I did for a lot of years. And she was like, people are saying that you're aggressive and nasty. And I'm like, you're kidding. And she was like, I'm not kidding, and you're still on probation, like you just got this job. Usually people are on their best behavior until at least 6 months. So I got fired, and so I showed up at my mom's doorstep like, the world had done me wrong, and the perpetual victim in my active alcoholism. Somebody's always doing it to me, taking it from me. I'm power. I have no power. I'm like this because of everybody, because this is the way that it is, and I can't believe that I lost that job, and everything is somebody else's fault. And what a horrible way to live. That's why I needed a power, because as a victim, I'm powerless. I have no responsibility, but I have no credit either for anything good. So my mom lets me live with her. I'm thinking, surely I'm not going to drink anymore, because clearly homelessness and losing your job for the umpteenth time is enough to keep anybody sober, right? I'm afraid and I'm frightened and I have nowhere to live. I mean, I'm sure that in some of my, how do I control my drinking? I'm sure on there somewhere was, if I'm ever homeless, then I'll stop. I mean, that had to be in there somewhere. And so I was with my mom for like a week before I finagled a way to get to the liquor store and buy a bottle while I'm getting drunk on a Tuesday. And she kind of knows that something's not right, but I don't think she really wants to see it either. And then it just, I get drunk 3 times in rapid succession after trying on my own to stop, and which I identified with in the book. And the last time, I pass out in the bathroom with my feet up against the door at 9 o'clock at night, and my mom can't get in, and she's ill, so she has like oxygen, and she's crying, trying to get in the door, and she thinks like I had an aneurysm because I just went in the bathroom and didn't come out, and I'm just drunk, She wakes up my 84-year-old father, the two of them together are like lose 4 years off their life because, and I mean, it's not like they didn't worry about me all the time anyway. I'm the daughter with the 3 repossessions and the 64 jobs, and the boyfriend that beats her. Like, I'm that same person, I'm 36, so I don't know what made me think like, well, when I drank, my parents really worried about me. I mean, it was only those couple times when they saw me drinking. My parents were sick about me for decades, wondering, will she make it? Will she not? I know we weren't the best parents, but surely, I mean, we always kept her fed and clothes and a place to live, and we brought her to church. Like, surely we did something right. Is she going to make it? Is she not going to make it? That's the stuff that I owe the amends for. Just the lack of desire to take responsibility for my own life. So I didn't know there was a solution. That's the truth. I heard of Alcoholics Anonymous, but I didn't know there was a solution. I really just thought that this is who I was. I was this woman who, although extremely, I could sing, I could rock a mic, I had talent, I had gifts and talents, I could speak well. I read at an 11th grade reading level in the 4th grade, but I don't know why none of that translated into sobriety, but it didn't. And so they're puzzled, I'm puzzled and baffled. I went to my first Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in February of 2006. First one, don't remember very well. Second one, I do remember because it was a literature meeting. And I sat down and they said, is anybody new? And I raised my hand. And at the time I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, I white-knuckled 30 days sobriety, and that's only because I could keep it together. This disease likes to go underground. It's like, shh, you're symptomatic. They're gonna try and fix you. Get it together, shh. That's what my disease did, like, they're on to you, shh. Go under. Manifest yourself in food. Nobody can't find you. Manifest yourself in money. You can manifest yourself. Spend too much money. They're all looking at you drinking. So shh. You know what I mean? Manifest yourself in sex. Just don't drink. Like they're on to you. Whack-a-mole, right? And then I'm like, hey, you're spending too much money. It's like shh. Don't do the money thing no more. They're on to the money thing, don't do the money thing. That's literally, and that's how it is today. Right now, if I'm not plugged in. I come after this thing and it doesn't want to come out. I have this visual of like a fishing lure, like a round metal ball with like 50 million fishing hooks on it, and I ate it somewhere along the line, and every time I try to rip it out, it's doing more damage than good, and I've got to sit back and let God take it out this way, slowly and carefully, because I'll go in there like a wrecking ball, pull it out, ripping things, hurting people, bleeding, hurting myself, making bad decisions. I got to sit back, do this stuff, and let God do it the way that it's supposed to be done. That's my alcoholism. So I owe amends for being who I was for as long as I was that person. So when I came into AA and I saw the ways that we tried to control our drinking, involuntarily weeping. I'm just staring at the book and tears are streaming down my face because I had talked to everybody, including my friends, my dearest and closest friends, who begged me not to drink. Like, just don't, why can't you be like Mike? Like, just smoke pot. Like, I don't understand. Like, he's so chill, and he was like, he's awful, and you're worse than Mike, But nobody talked to me like that book did. I mean, everybody, were a little left of the spot, a little right of the spot, like close, but Alcoholics Anonymous was like, bingo, right in the spot. This is your problem if you're like us. And this is your solution. You have zero power to change who you are and the things you do. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Are you powerless over alcohol? Let's look at your life. Sleeping on your mom's couch, 36 years old. You have nothing materialistically. You have nothing spiritually. You're bankrupt. You're physically falling apart. What part of this life do you want to salvage? So yeah, I get it. You're right. It's the booze. I know it now. You know. Are you now willing to believe? Can you fathom that maybe this God that you believe loved you your whole life, maybe he's not gone? Maybe everything they told you is true. Are you willing to at least try to believe that maybe you're not alone? Maybe he's always loved you the way that you need to be loved. Maybe he never left you. Are you willing to believe? And I said, what choice do I have, really? I believe. And in that third step, well, if you believe that this God is possibly still around you waiting to help you, can you let him drive? Just today, can you let him drive today? And that's how my journey began. Yes, today, I will let him drive. And so, God took the hold of my life, and immediately I began to feel better. Immediately I got around people from going to meetings and having a sponsor who said, but wait, there's more. Are you willing to believe that the way that you've lived could use some tweaking? Right? So I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And they said, well, we're going to write about it, you know? And I got through, I'm going through the book, I'm going through the first 164 pages, and I'm looking at this inventory thing, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I hate the IRS, I'm pissed off at God, I don't like my ex-boyfriend, my mother raised me wrong, my father hit me too much, like it just came out, And in that inventory, I realized that I was just way too dependent on other people for everything. And there was only one source for me, and I was manipulative, even when I wasn't trying, and I still have a habit of wanting to do that as if, I'm not enough. It's not enough to just want to hang out with me. I gotta make you dinner. And run myself ragged trying to do it. Because I need to have value. I tried to make myself valuable to you by doing things for you. But not because of who you are, but because of who I am. If you're making me feel the way I want to feel, great. If you're not, who's next? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't, if it's not working on you, I'll find somebody it will work on. Like, just let me get my thing. It was never about the people in my life. It was always about trying to instill in them how valuable I am so that they will validate me and make me feel all right so I can get that unconditional love. When I'm seeking people, I'm back to that first step. I'm back to that powerlessness, that unmanageability, the despair. There's only one for me. So I find out what my character defects are. It turns out I'm a liar, I'm a manipulator, I'm irresponsible, I don't care about other people's feelings. I'm selfish and self-centered because I can't worry about me and you. And if we gotta worry about somebody, I'm gonna choose me over you every time. Before I had a higher power. Now my higher power says, I'm gonna worry about you, I want you to worry about them. So in the 6th and 7th step, I offered these things to my higher power and said, please, this is killing me, and I have no real friends, and nobody's there for me, and I'm not there for anybody else except for with an ulterior motive, like, you gotta take this stuff so that I can have this life. because I'm of no use to you if I can't get out of myself. And so, on the day that I ask him, the ones which he feels like can be removed on that day are removed. And the ones that pop up, I gotta ask him to remove at that time, you know? 6 and 7, you know, 8 and 9, made a list of the people that I've harmed. And it's so funny because I'm 13 years sober and I found 3 more financial amends that I never made. I made 2 of them. And the next day I got a raise at my job. That's how this program works. If you think I'm kidding, I'm not, obviously. So, make it right. Pay the money. You know what I mean? Those are the easy amends. You know what I mean? Write the check already and get it over with. Make terms and get rid of it. Let God bless you. You know, if I have their money, then I can't have his money. I'd rather have his money. Let me pay you so that God can provide for me. That's been my experience in Alcoholics Anonymous. 10, 11, and 12, I live in. You know, I live in 10, 11, and 12. Not great. I'm not perfect at it. But it keeps me honest. I'm aware of who God is today, and I'm aware of who keeps me alive, who sustains me, who keeps the lights on, who keeps the water on, I'm aware of who keeps me. Who keeps Judy, the lover of my soul, the breath in my body, my shield, my fortress, my strength, without which you don't want to know me. I cannot exist without being plugged into these 11 and 12. I cannot. There's just no life for me. It's not worth living. You take God out of the equation for an alcoholic like me, and life is just not worth living. I become a selfish, self-consumed person there's never enough of anything for. I walk around wanting all the time, not having, comparing. All the time. I don't want that anymore in my life. Alcoholics Anonymous, like, it's my favorite thing. It's Did anybody remember Willy Wonka? Sorry, so Willy Wonka, right? But not the new one, but the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka, right? So it's the end of the movie, and it's Charlie, right? And he's the last kid standing, and Willy Wonka pisses him off and says, "You're disqualified, there is no, free chocolate." And his grandfather's like, "Screw this guy, let's give his competition his secrets." And Charlie's like, "No," and he gives back the secret, right? Does anybody remember this, or am I just hallucinating again? Flashback. So anyway, he puts the thing back, and Willy Wonka turns around and says, "Charlie, you win." And Charlie says, "The chocolate?" And he says, "Yes, the chocolate, but so much more." Charlie came for the chocolate, and he got the whole factory. Willy Wonka solved every problem he had. He was living with his grandparents in one room, in one bed. And Willy Wonka says, "Move them all in. There's plenty of room." No more financial problems, no more relationship problems, right? He came for the chocolate, but he got the whole thing. That's Alcoholics Anonymous. I came to stop drinking, but I got everything. Everything. Yes, the chocolate, but everything. Thank you.
All right, Judy, thank you for coming here tonight and sharing that message of hope with us. That was incredible. Thank you very much. One more round of applause. A couple of quick announcements and then we'll wrap it up here. The Food and Fellowship starts here every week at 8 o'clock. So if you want to get something to eat, you want to come, you want to socialize, get here early, 8 o'clock, meet up. If you want to do some service work, even better. We're always looking for people to help set up, break down the meeting. If you want to help, there's always a meeting after the meeting. If you want to help us clean up, we could use some help with the chairs always. We can go 5 across, 7 rows back. What else? I think we'll be going to Perkins tonight. If you want to join us, we'll be going to Perkins. It's half off appetizers. If you don't have any money, don't worry about it. It's customary for us to form a line and thank our speakers. They come here on their own time and expense to come and share a message with us. So with that, if you care to join us, we have a nice way of closing. Thank you very much.
Next week, John Q. out of New York City.